Hello and welcome. I am your host, Tennille Christensen from Earth Mama, where I teach people to get skilled in sustainability. This is the Permaculture Herbalism segment brought to you by the Elder Tree, where we are putting the medicine in the hands of people. Thank you for tuning in. I'm recording from my studio in Jabukai land of Kuranda, Australia, and I'm going to give my respects today and always to the First Nations people, past, present and future, and offer my gratitude for the opportunities to learn their ancient wisdom in our modern world, bridging time and culture so we may all thrive. This segment is all about merging the world of permaculture and herbalism, so the art and science of ecological design and plant wisdom or plant medicine so that we can cultivate healthy landscapes and people. If you want to be involved, you can be part of the Elder Tree Trove, which is our Patreon community. Stay tuned to this episode for more information, and without further ado, let's get into the interview.
If we would open our ears, what would we hear?
Tatiana Lustre Dawn, as we all lovingly know as Twiggy, is the multifaceted force behind Alchemilla Herbals and the founder of the Elder Tree and this particular podcast. As a mother, herbalist, teacher, journalist, and permaculturalist, she wears many hats, and it's this passion and purpose that I wanted to explore further in this topic of permaculture and how that all ties into her life. So Twiggy is dedicated to growing, harvesting and crafting remedies and has a special focus on wild and naturalized plants. She's writing a book about this at this current time and is offering different workshops, courses and apprenticeships, and currently has an online meandering medicine program. She's a sought-after speaker in community events and is collaborating with other herbal gatherings nationwide. And we're going to discuss plants like her favorites, motherwort, plantain, and stinging nettle. So without further ado, let's get into the interview.
As a mindset, I remember when I first came across the concept of permaculture about 12 years ago, and I'd already been gardening for years, and just when I heard about it and heard the principles and heard some of the examples of how those principles could be applied in the garden, I just was like, well, that's what I'm already doing, like a lot of the ways of having closed loop cycles or whatever they're called, like just not having waste. Yep. And just having everything working together in symbiotic relationships. And so many of the aspects of permaculture when applied to the garden just makes so much sense to me. And then when I went deeper into those principles when applied to like social structures and my life and business or many different areas, it just makes so much sense. It's like and so then when I started applying those permaculture principles to my life a lot more, then I started really getting benefit of permaculture, I suppose, like being like, wow, how can I make my life more symbiotic, and how can I have there be no waste, and how can I have all of the areas of my life all working together in harmony and in an inclusive way and with great diversity and all of that, all of the beautiful principles. So I think that's how permaculture has really brought a lot of value to my life in that kind of social and personal development area.
Like our inner zone, applying the principles to design our inner zone. And it's so cool that it can, it spreads across all those different domains and aspects of life. And we've got this really practical way that we can apply it in the garden and see results. But we can use it as a mindset and for decision making and in all the different ways and see improvement. So, and you kind of inherited a permaculture property for a while there, and a community garden role, which was really based from establishing a permaculture garden by some pretty famous permies. Would you be able to share on that topic?
Yeah, sure. So there was a really amazing couple in my Ravenshoe community, Rob and Jules, who they ran a property called the Old Butter Factory, and they had over 50 kinds of bamboo growing there, and just basically 4.2 acres of jam-packed permaculture beauty. More like not so much aquaponic systems or a lot. It was plant focused, and yeah, and they were quite renowned internationally with their work with the bamboo. And yeah, and they also started up the Ravenshoe Community Garden about 10 and a half years ago. And so after Rob passed away, I approached Jules and just said, if you need, and by that stage I'd taken on the Ravenshoe Community Garden. So this was, over about 7 years ago, I'd taken on the community garden, and I approached Jules and said, oh, if you want me to look after the place while you go away for a while, then I can. And she's like, when can you move in? I was like, hang on. Wasn't quite expecting that. But yeah, so yeah, little did I plan that I took on both of their babies, kind of carried on the legacy there at the butter factory and at the community gardens. And so I actually moved from the butter factory about 8 months ago, but I still go back and tend that garden. I still am like the only person really harvesting and maintaining that place, which, like any good permaculture system, should reach a point where it actually doesn't need human involvement in order to flourish. Like, it just is a pretty self-sustaining ecosystem. So that's amazing. Yeah, and then the Ravenshoe Community Garden, even though we do have sections with like defined garden beds and, have kind of conventional organic but conventional farming methods, like we do have a whole zone of the Ravenshoe Community Garden that's a food forest as well. So and like the butter factory, it's not just a food forest, it's a food and medicine forest, with food and medicine growing side by side, and other useful plants for fibers and dyes and what else we might need in a world that we rely on what's around us rather than what's in the shops. And yeah, so I'm still running the community gardens, and it's very rewarding space. But yeah, I never did any kind of official permaculture training aside from your 2-day intro to permaculture course. So that's been a really interesting experience of coming into permaculture and just, learning by doing and learning by watching and observing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the very core basics foundation is the observe and interact. So I think a lot of people come into it and realize, oh, this just makes a whole lot of sense. So with your background, and I mean, you used to hang out with Charlie McGee, so I imagine that would have been a little bit of learning through osmosis.
That was pre-permaculture, Charlie. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That time existed, did it?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah. It was many, many years ago. Yeah, like 2 decades ago, nearly. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was always
really
gardener, Charlie. Like, yeah. Sorry.
Yes, that was already there. He already had the green thumbs.
Yeah.
I really love your approach, because what I find in the permaculture realm, and especially when we talk about food forests and food fiber and medicine, there's a lot of focus on nutrition and food growing for nutritional purposes, and that's really, really awesome. And it's definitely a thread that weaves through all of my other interviews. But it takes a level of plant understanding with the herbs to go to that level of specifically or intentionally growing herbs and plants, medicine plants specifically, to be able, to be cultivating, even in a food forest setting, to harvest and utilize the plants for making medicine. And what I've learned in my journey is a lot of these plants are already providing ecosystem services, and they're amazing plants, and so they're already included in really a lot of permaculture gardens. But if you don't actually know the constituents and have that herbal or knowledge of what you can do with it, they a lot of the times they're not being harvested and utilized to make medicine. So I really, it's great to be learning these things from you in your workshops that I've attended, and just the conversation and the people that you're bringing, and the, the educators and people speaking on this podcast. I find really inspiring, because it's useful knowledge for many permaculturalists or gardeners out there to be able to really tune into the medicine plants, because we can be growing so many of them and having that level of self-sufficiency, but those words that you use of community sufficiency, by by growing the herbs and having them, in our region, and just the benefits of having that that connection and being able to lean into things that are in our own backyard for our health and well-being beyond the nutritional purpose of it. So thanks for your work. Thanks for bringing this piece of the puzzle to our community up here.
Thank you.
So do you
nutrient dense food is medicine too, that whole like food
Absolutely.
is medicine concept is a real thing when you're living largely from what you're growing on your own healthy, fertile soil, But
yes.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think it is a bit of a missing piece in a lot of the permaculture presentations that I've seen.
Yeah. So when I run my PDC, I would love for you to be coming in and teaching as well, and bringing that herbal lore, because I went all the way to Bali to learn from Penny Livingston Stark, because their PDC was offering the herbal medicine aspect of it. And at the time I couldn't find anywhere in Australia offering that. So I think you've got, that's definitely a part that you could bring in to make a PDC more valuable. So hopefully more space to collaborate there in the future. Putting you on the spot right now.
Yeah. Hell yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, you've got a lot of knowledge yourself as well, in your book. It's got a lot of really valuable herb knowledge in there, and yeah, good on you for going all the way to Bali to that's dedication to go seek out a teacher that incorporated that into their teachings. It's great.
Yeah, well, we have to if we're pondering the questions and we can't find it. And obviously Isabel Shepherd, I've talked about a lot as well. It was because I was doing so much research into plants, and I was realizing, hey, there is so much more depth to each of these plants than just the nutritional value. And yes, I came from that perspective of food as medicine, but whoa, I can use it for all these other purposes and, fine tune into actual, symptoms and healing and things like that. And I think it's powerful without having to go to university, to be a home herbalist and to take that journey, that we have people like yourself and other herbalists that we're learning about in these episodes in this podcast, to be able to, as just anybody at home, to learn the knowledge and to practice it in our own kitchens and own gardens. So it's very cool. Twiggy, how do you integrate plants or from a herbalism perspective? And I know you've talked about the community garden, but as far as like your own home gardens, what specific herbal plants do you definitely have and work with on a regular basis?
Well, how do I choose? I think so the main plants that I work with on a daily basis from my garden.
Yeah.
Well, I would say the first and foremost primary plant is a plant that I actually ran a whole workshop about at your house, which is plantain. I just think that I often call that just a medicine chest in one herb, and my herb that if I could only take one packet of seeds to go live on another planet, that'd be the one that I'd take. And so plantain. In fact, I've got some brewing on the stove right now for my next door neighbor who's unwell at the moment. And it's just such an incredible plant for so many different reasons. It's just like our go-to for rashes and bites and cuts and welts and strange eruptions that we don't know what they are. It's wonderful, like for ulcers, internal and external, and it's just great for it's like it's just so good for all body systems, like for the lungs and the digestive system. It's great for like diarrhea to constipation to like everything in between, and it's just such a great herb that I'm actually going to run a whole course about it soon, because there's just so much to say and so many ways you can utilize this plant.
Amazing. Yeah. The fan club is evolving and growing.
Yeah, the plantain fan club. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Was I meant to say more? Or was it plants? How many am I allowed to
I'm pretty
choose?
sure motherwort's got to be in there, doesn't it?
Definitely. Yeah, motherwort's like my best friend, and again, one that I run whole courses and workshops about. But like she's the kind of rescue remedy. A lot of people call the medicine that I make from that plant like a rescue remedy. It's just such a wonderful plant for like highly strung anxiety, overthinking, like worry. Basically almost everyone nowadays I think needs some motherwort. And again, she's got so many other amazing benefits. But I'm looking out my window at her right now, and such a powerful plant. But then, there's all the kind of plants that I utilize in a more garden permaculture kind of setting, like the comfrey and then stinging nettle. Stinging nettles, like I'm actually running in the middle of a course about that one right now, but it's just so amazing because like nettle, like comfrey and yarrow get a lot of focus in organic biodynamic permaculture kind of worlds as like dynamic accumulators that bring up all the minerals and all the nutrients into their leaves, and then you put that into the compost, and it helps the break down the compost and just brings all these nutrients into the soil. And they have other uses in the garden, but like stinging nettles often is one that's like, oh, stinging nettle, it gets a bit of a bad rap because it hurts, but it's actually it's really important. And I think I started to really see its benefit in a permaculture setting when I did start. Well, I was volunteering at the old butter factory long before I actually took over that place, and I was just observing this whole area where the stinging nettle was growing, and how it was that particular area was where the ginger was growing such bigger, healthier roots than other areas of the garden. And then looking into the fact that like nettle has high silica and ginger loves silica, and seeing that, and then starting to read about how nettle actually encourages growth in other plants, and it's meant to be really supportive to fruiting, like for fruits forming well, and then learning about the high nitrogen content of the nettle and just and all of that. And then there's just so many areas where nettle's like this kind of unsung hero in the garden. But it's a really amazing, and it's a dye. You can use it as a fiber. It's actually strong enough fiber that they used it to make uniforms in both world wars. And it's just such an incredible plant, and I'm hoping to see a bit more of a resurgence of the nettle in the kind of permaculture and organic garden setting. And also like it teaches us about mindfulness. When we're walking through a garden and you get stung by the nettle, it's like, oh, hang on, look where you're going, pay attention,
Respect. And then how this stinging plant can provide so much to us, especially women, as like for our blood. It's just like such nutritious tea.
Yeah, and then the root for the men, for the prostate, it's really good for prostate health. The root, in fact, and then the seeds are really great for kidney issues and adrenal issues, and it's all parts of the plant when it's used right. It's really supportive through different stages of life and different conditions.
Wow. I definitely think there's going to be a resurgence now. You can use all parts. It grows bigger. Bigger ginger. You can make ginger and nettle tea together.
Yeah. Yeah, we're really blessed in this area where we live, Toddy, is that we've got the scrub nettle, a native stinging nettle here, that's also really powerful, that I've managed to bring into my garden as well. So, you know, it's really nice when you can bring in the local native medicines, the native equivalents, and weave them into the garden as well.
Yeah, yeah, excellent. Okay, well, so would nettle be your favorite plant? Because my next question is like, I know this is the hardest question for plant lovers, but you know, what is your favorite, and you know, why? Because like, if you were to recommend a must-have for other people to get started or have like in their home garden for, I don't know, you've kind of already touched it, and you just gave 3 great examples. Would one of them be? I mean, you just said you would take. What would you take to the moon if you could?
Plantain, if there was some soil to grow it in. Yeah, that's just like the one. It's like the herb that's my go-to. That and the kids go to. Like so many people, you know, I make like a salve from it, and so many people I know, their kids, you know, my customers, their kids know where the salve is, and they just like love. It's their go-to as well for owies and bites and, you know, all kinds of different things that go on. And yeah, something I love about plantain as well is that it contains allantoin, which is what comfrey's got in it. That's like one of the things about allantoin makes like cells proliferate, like it makes new cells grow, helps tissue to heal and multiply. But there's somewhere else in nature that allantoin is found, and it's in a breastfeeding mother. She forms an allantois gland and secretes allantoin to her newborn baby just in the newborn phase. And I just think that's so beautiful, like when you look at things that happen in nature, and because like we are nature too, and things that happen in like the plant world that happen in us too. Yeah, just there's this high intelligence going on. And so yeah, I think plantain's just such an incredible plant on so many levels for the garden. It's a great ground cover. Like if you have any compacted pathways, you can just spread it along a pathway in a compacted area, and it will dominate grass even in a compacted area. So yeah, it's a really great ground cover like that. And yeah, I think it don't make me choose, but if you had to make me choose, I'd say plantain.
I think that's a clear choice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I found it really good as a ground cover underneath. Like if you already have an established orchard and people are wanting to establish a food forest, in the sense of they've got a traditional orchard and then they're wanting to add more diversity, a lot of people forget about the feeder roots and just start hacking into the ground, and it's like, no, you have to build the soil up. And maybe in the sunny areas where there's, you know, the feeder roots don't exist, you can start introducing other sort of diversity, different plants if you're digging holes. But you can just sprinkle the seeds all underneath an existing orchard and just have such an incredible ground cover there, and it grows well in the shade as well as the sun. But you don't know this, but my mum just had an operation. She had a sun cancer cut out of her foot, and she borrowed some plantain salve that you made for my auntie who's in Atherton, and she borrowed it off her.
Right.
So my mum's been putting it on her foot, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, this works so well!" Like, and it's been healing. And she's like, "Yeah, this is Twiggy's. Did you know I'm using Twiggy's salve?" She's telling me. So I was like, "Wow, I'm doing an interview with her. I'm going to let her know." So it's, that's you know,
that's the problem when you sell medicine to someone and then they just give it away. So I'm just gonna have to chase down your auntie and give her a new tub of plantain salve. That's nice. She passed it on.
Oh, look, they're pretty sold on coming to your next workshop and learning how to make it.
Yeah, nice.
I think that's the beauty of that you teach people how to make it as well. You know, that's they can come and buy it from you, but you're also giving, putting the medicine in the hands of people as the the elder tree intention. So it's really cool. Have you got any examples of when, like, you've specifically been unwell or dealing with something in your life, and then you've leaned on or utilized a specific plant to help you through that?
Yeah. I could think of lots of times. On
With
a
the
daily
herbal
level.
healer, you're like, yeah.
Which
That's how
story do
you
you
become a
want?
herbalist, right? You gotta practice on
Yeah.
yourself first.
Yeah. I think yeah, like I remember when I was pregnant with my daughter, and I had a friend put a bottle of motherwort tincture in my hand, and she said, you might need this in your birth, and you're definitely going to need it during your breastfeeding time. Anytime you're having a hard time, just have some of this. It's going to help you out. And she was like, but really, like, listen to me. And I listened to her about things like that. So I actually went and found a motherwort plant that ended up being the mother of millions, because now it's like the original plant that's just spawned off so many. Everywhere I go is like a trail of motherwort. But so basically, yeah, I forgot about it in my birth, and I probably really needed it. Actually, I had a retained placenta, and that's an incredible birth herb, and for that purpose. And yeah, I wish that I had remembered it at that time. But once Akasha was born, and I was well into past the initial oh cute baby phase and into the like, wow, this is actually pretty overwhelming, the big life changes, and just trying to navigate how to go to the toilet and get changed and make dinner while I have a baby that needs me constantly, and was getting really overwhelmed with it. And then I remembered, and I was starting to get like I suppose like panic attacks and anxiety attacks with it. And then I remembered the motherwort. And so yeah, and so I had some when I was peaking out. Like I was like, oh my god, what do I do? And I had some, and within seconds I thought, I'm like, man, I must be bipolar or something, because the shift from within seconds from being so up here, like highly strung, hyper, really just overwhelmed, down to a place of complete neutral calm, was just like phenomenal. And so through the breastfeeding phase, I utilized that medicine, and it was just incredible, like how much, like every single time without fail, no matter how overwhelmed I was, it would just bring me back to like a calm center. And so then I started, and then, like, as so many people, when you find something that really helps you and changes your life in a really good way, you want to share that with people. So I started making the tincture, and that's kind of where Alchemilla Herbals started, was the motherwort tincture, and me just wanting to share motherwort with the world and get it into, and so now I have a pact with motherwort that at least a third of what the medicine I make has to be gifted, and it ends up being probably closer to half. And just whenever I find like a pregnant mum, particularly a first-time mum, I'm like, here's a bottle for you, here's a bottle for your partner. Like, he needs to know to give it to you when you don't remember to have it. And yeah, and that feels like that's my pact with that plant. It's kind of like, you helped me, now I need to bring your medicine to help other people. And yeah, it's just incredible watching. I'm still yet to find a single person that it hasn't had that effect with, that doesn't have like full-blown anxiety or panic or like highly strung state come back to a calm point within moments. Like, it's just such a underrated herb that I'm really surprised that people don't, that it's not more common knowledge around. So yeah, that's definitely changed my life. The motherwort, she's changed my life, and I feel like that's just like, she's my best friend forever, like BFF.
Yeah. Have regular connection with her and sharing her message onwards. It's a really powerful story. And I'd heard of motherwort, but I had never seen it grow until I came to your garden, and she's beautiful. Her flowers, it's like, yeah, why is it such an underrated plant? It's just it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
Get some growing. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, well, thanks for sharing all of that. In terms of Alchemilla, can you share on the story and how that, your herbal business grew? Was it, did it happen in the butter factory? Like, what was the birth of that?
Well, before I was pregnant with Akasha, I used to run a company that was like I had 52 different essential oils and like all of these base products, like different oils and butters and beeswax and things like that. And I was making salves and massage oils and perfumes and a whole array of different things that I was stocking in 12 shops and online and markets. And it was like I bought it as an already existing business, a well-established, a couple of decades old by the time I bought it. And it was a really insightful educational experience. I don't regret it for a moment. But once I found out I was pregnant, I sold that business, 13 years ago, and 12 years ago, whenever it was. And I had such a sigh of relief once I'd passed it on, because I thought, gosh, that's just not buying all of this stuff that's been having to be monocropped overseas, brought in, and I'm just this middleman of rebottling something that then I just felt the real disconnect in that business model with the plants. And I was there growing my own garden the whole time, but not actually selling anything from my own garden, and not seeing any good examples of how you could actually make a living. And it's still really hard to this day. In Australia, it's actually really, really difficult to create a business model that you can actually make a comfortable living off growing and making medicine and selling that. It's quite difficult. So I knew what I wanted to do, but it took me many years. It wasn't actually until I just had so much motherwort that like I couldn't just keep gifting it. I had to start selling it because I couldn't stop making it. It was like, all right, I got all this motherwort. I just need to move it on. So I started selling it. And then I was like, okay, this should be, I could just sell motherwort. This could be my business. And so and then I started forming Alchemilla Herbals, and then I realized that I didn't want to be product based. Like I didn't want to have a product. It's like, what do people really need more than a product? It's like they need education. Like they need to be taught how to grow the plant. They just need to be given the seeds and, being shown how to make the medicine for themselves, so they're not relying on someone else to do it for them. And so, so that's, how Alchemilla Herbals was really birthed, was starting to develop a product. And once I realized it was a business that was going to sell a product, even though it was a medicine, and that whole like, no, okay, this is an educational business model. But still, as it is, like in my workshops, we're just making so much medicine, and I just can't stop making medicine. So I have to sell it. So I have to have labels, and I still have all of these products in an online store, but I do resist it every step of the way, because I would like to actually just be able to give all of that away, in a handwritten label. That would be just ideal, is to be able to have enough of a living off just teaching, that then all of the medicine's just a gift to the community, to whoever needs it. That would be a great point to get to. Well, that is where it'll get to with the elder tree. That's what we'll be doing there. So, yeah.
Amazing.
I can't remember the question now. I just went off on a tangent.
No, that's an excellent answer. And what's the meaning behind the name? Can you share that with everybody?
Well, Alchemilla just means little alchemist, but it's actually, there's a plant called Alchemilla vulgaris, and its botanical name is Alchemilla vulgaris, and its common name is lady's mantle, and it's a lady's herb, and it's a beautiful herb. I have it in the garden, and to be honest, I named my business after this plant without having had much of a connection with the plant itself. It was actually just a really interesting experience where I opened the page of a book, and just the word Alchemilla jumped out at me. Like it was like literally, it looked like it leapt out of the page, and it was like I was reading my own name or something. It was like, what is this word? Like, this is me somehow. And then I realized, I was like, oh, this is what I'm birthing. Like, this is this business, for want of a better word. This, like, it's the name for the creation that's coming through, is Alchemilla. So yeah, I'm still developing a relationship with the plant itself, but I like that the lady's mantle is this this cloak that was, worn, a long time ago, in Europe, like this a small cloak that just goes over the shoulders. And I've had multiple dreams of going into these like dark forests and meeting these really sacred, amazing plants, like European herbs. And always I'm wearing one of these, like this cloak thing, this short cloak. And I didn't even remember that when the Alchemilla name came through. So yeah, it's really interesting. But the Alchemilla plant as well is really sacred, is really significant to the old alchemists too, because the dew that collects on the plant in the morning, they consider that really powerful, transformative substance. And when you look at the water that collects on the leaves, it is really special. And so, yeah, in some ways I don't even know how that came to be the name, and then in other ways it's like that was the only name that it could be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so perfect. And yeah, you're teaching all these little, the alchemists, like it's like the witchy and coming in and getting in your workshops all the little ingredients and mixing together. And yeah, I think it's so fitting. Most excellent. Well, on all of that, can you share what's alive and thriving in your world right now? Because I know there's a lot.
Yeah. Gosh. It's like when someone goes, "How are you going?" It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
you've got a while.
How
Let's
long
sit
have you
down.
got? Yeah.
Yeah, what's alive and thriving? So much. I mean, like right now, the whole time you're interviewing me, I'm looking out over the garden here, which is very thriving. We've been, building terrace gardens, which has been really nice. I've actually always wanted to make terrace gardens, so that's been a fun project to do. And so much, actually, something that's a kind of, suppose, news that I haven't really told anyone is that I'm going to be entering into clinical practice soon. It's something that I've resisted for years. I didn't want to deal with people. I just kind of, aside from teaching, like I just want to deal with plants, just not feeling like I wanted to enter into that kind of role as a practitioner. And yeah, I feel the amount of, I don't want to say pressure, the amount of prompts I'm getting within the community for people wanting me to open up consultations. So I'm responding to that. I'm going to give it a go and see how we go. And I think that maybe I have something that's unique to share in that space that's maybe different to how other herbalists might work. But yeah, that's something that's new and exciting that's coming in. But yeah, just this whole elder tree, journey is just like constantly alive, and just the plants. I feel like I'm really blessed to have found my calling and my path, and just to have every day feel so blessed, no matter how much I might feel stressed or overwhelmed or something like that. At points, it's still an overarching sense of just being so grateful that that I get to have all these amazing allies and get to feel a sense of purpose and place in my community, and then hopefully be sharing that passion and activating that in other people. And so yeah, there's a lot that's alive in me. I feel like a
Yeah.
whole
Oh, well,
ecosystem of aliveness.
oh, well, that's cool. So we got the latest goss, like the newest
Yeah,
news on that
don't
front.
tell anyone.
Yeah, they all know now. But what about your presenting gig coming up for Seven Sisters? Oh no, not Seven Sisters, Wise Women
Oh
Festival.
yeah. Oh wow. So if we're looking to the future of what's alive in the
Yeah.
future, wow, gosh, you got another couple of hours. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm actually I feel really honored. I've been invited to present at Herb Fest in Sunshine Coast. So I'll be presenting at that. It's a beautiful, like a one-day herb festival run by Kat Green from Everyday Empowered and Heidi Maraka, which are both people I've interviewed on this podcast. They were actually I've interviewed them both on this podcast. They're really amazing humans, and they welcomed me into there to do that. And they're also going to do like a post-conference presentation. So I'm going to be running like a workshop a couple of days later for their community, which I'm very excited about, that opportunity. And also the Wise Women's gathering, which again I haven't announced any of this, so this is kind of
We're announcing it now.
yeah. There you go. Yeah, so I'm going to be Stephanie Hazel and I, who obviously Stephanie Hazel's the presenter of the Sacred Herbalism segment of this podcast, a total legend, an amazing herbal ally, and herbal educator and practitioner. She's her and I are both presenting at Wise Women's Conference down just north of Sydney, in the Hawkesbury Valley. And so we're both presenting at it. We're both on a panel. So we're getting to be on a panel, which is a great honor, with a bunch of other amazing, herbal law keepers. And also we're getting, paid to do a pre-conference session. So there's a whole session before the Wise Women's Gathering, this pre-conference that we're doing a 3-hour presentation for. On plant. Well, I won't tell you what it's about. You have to wait until that's released.
Yeah.
But
leave something in the surprise. Yeah, come to the event.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty exciting.
That is. And also upcoming events for the Elder Tree. Anything exciting in the near future?
Yeah, that's been a bit of a topic the last couple of days. But the next event that's being run through the Elder Tree is the NVC training with Kate Raffin that's coming up in, when is it? Oh my gosh, I forgot the date. It's coming up. So I think it's
April.
in like 5 weeks. Yeah. I can't remember the date, but it's like in about 5 weeks from now. And so that's in Cairns, NVC training. And so that's a really important, even though it's not herbs, but the Elder Tree is more than herbs, but also the Elder Tree is it's going to be many moving parts to the Elder Tree once we have a sanctuary. And already there's so many moving parts, but once we have the land, there's going to be, the botanical garden and the clinic and the educational spaces and accommodation spaces. There's going to be so many elements to be, coordinated and navigated. And so something that's really important in any community is communication. And so Kate Raffin coming up and doing this really valuable training is going to be the first of many. We're going to be anyone that's a large part of the Elder Tree with any kind of core crew capacity is going to be expected to attend an NVC training at least yearly, because I really see the importance of good communication in any relationship and any family or project or business or anything. It's actually just core, and so many situations that fail could have succeeded if there were better communication practices in place. So looking forward to that. And right now we're just still kind of mulling over what our next fundraiser event is going to be, and what focus we want to have there, because the fundraiser events in the past have just been so sensational and so much fun, and it's been too long now since we've had one, so it's about time. Great way of showcasing credible people in the community and getting people to have a bit of a taste in the flesh of what we're creating. So stay tuned for that.
Get involved in that. Awesome. So the nonviolent communication workshop is April 13th and 14th. Okay, so
Thanks.
people
also
can
4 weeks.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's on the website and the Facebook page, and I'll put a link in the show notes as well. So that would be a really awesome place to come and connect with us and other people who are interested in this mode of operation and the the Elder Tree community. So come on along. And you also have an online course, don't you? Isn't that happening?
Yeah.
Okay, can you share on that?
Yeah, it's like, how long have you got? That's what I mean. But thanks. So at the moment, I'm actually rolling out my first ever online course that I've created. I resisted doing it because I didn't want to be glued to my computer, and I wanted people to be learning herbs in a hands-on environment, but I also really seen with my workshops that there's this sensational energy that people come, and there's this excitement and this event and this space that happens for one day, and then I don't know how prepared they were for that experience. I don't know how well they're implementing that afterwards. Like, some people, I think it's actually just so overwhelming how, like, how excited we all get about it, that they, kind of go back to life and go, okay, what's my next step? Like, how do I, implement this? So I decided to start running online courses that have a workshop attached to them. So then it gives like a deepening experience for my students. And so the course name is Meandering Medicine, but it's kind of broken up into months, we call them, like a whole moon cycle. So you can just enroll in one moon cycle, or, most of the students are doing the whole thing. But we started off with exploring elder for a whole moon cycle, starting on the new moon. And then we explored Gotacola. And then now we're exploring stinging nettle. And probably the next two coming up upon request from a bunch of my students is plantain and motherwort.
No surprise.
Yeah, no surprise at all. But yeah, they're really actually really amazing. And the thing is that I'm developing the course as we're doing it. So we're all taking the medicine every day. And there's this real and everyone's growing the medicine in their own gardens. So they're developing their own relationship with their plants. And then, we have two calls, two group calls where they're like kind of sharing circles. And it's incredible. It's incredible what's going on in the space. And people are also learning all the mental, like how to grow, harvest, and make medicine with the plant. They're learning about the history and the magic and the folklore and the botany and, all of that. So everything's engaged in the space, but it's very energetic. And people like at the moment we're doing the nettle, and people are like making up a dance about nettle, songs about nettle. People are like weaving with the fiber, making dye. We're only like just over a week in, and people like all the photos of the medicine everyone's making. It's like really, really creative and dynamic and deep. So people can do it long distance and not do the workshop, and then they still get like a live call into the workshop, and they get video footage from the workshop, and we find ways to like bring them into the space, but so that people can at a distance still get to do it. So yeah, but it's so much fun.
Wow.
I feel a bit bad taking people's money because I'm having so much fun.
But you need a new car, so take the money.
It's true.
And continue delivering all this awesomeness. I really want to. I know I've been to Mexico, but next round, I just think a month is a really good time to like really establish a relationship. And when I did Stephanie's workshop as well, just like learning from other people participating in the group as well, it's super valuable. And even though I love Gotacola, like all these plants you've mentioned I've worked with before, I just feel like there's every time I pay more attention, there's more layers and depth of information that comes through. It's just like a never ending, and like people, when you meet people, when you spend time with friends or family, you can drop in and go deeper. And yeah, plants are just the same. So sign me up for next time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for all your shares today. Is there anything else that you wanted to speak to before we say goodbye?
I suppose, with what you're saying before about there being like a large emphasis on food in permaculture and in gardening, and that, you know, it's good to be having a bit more education and awareness around medicinal plants, because so many medicinal plants are actually really functional in the garden. Like they're actually, you know, for fiber and dyeing, and for food, you know, nettles are food and a medicine, and, you know, and then they're like nettle and yarrow and comfrey being like great for the soil, and, you know, all of that kind of thing. They're really functional plants. And, you know, medicine, like I interviewed someone the other day and she said, I have this massive medicine garden, but I don't make anything. And she was feeling a little bit, seemed a bit sheepish almost about that or something. And I was like, that's perfect. Like there's so many ways to engage with medicine. And sometimes you don't need to take the medicine inside your body or use the medicine or like take from the medicine to receive it. You know, it's actually a relationship. You know, just having it there, just having motherwort in the garden is enough. You've been able to go, I go and sit with my motherwort and I just cry because it's just like, it's there. Like I don't actually need to take the medicine to engage, you know, with the medicine that she holds. And so, yeah, I suppose like my like parting words to the listeners is that, you know, grow medicine. It doesn't matter like whether you're using it. And in fact, the whole like using medicine and the one-way street mentality around consumerism with medicine, I think like really needs to shift in the main, you know, in the mainframe of society, like this kind of consumeristic mentality that medicine is bought and you expect it to give to you, and there's this like really one way exchange. No, it's not an exchange, and, you know, we're depleting the environment in the way that we're approaching it all. And so, you know, medicine's so regenerative. When I just let it go in the garden and watch what it does, it's like it's medicine in the garden. It's just being medicine for the insects and the pollinators and the other plants. And so, yeah, I suppose my parting message is just grow medicine.
Love it. Beautiful. Such a lovely message. Really nice to hear your perspective on permaculture and, you know, how it's been a part of your life, even without the formal training. You know, it's so sensical and it's added value, and and just the medicine in education that you bring into our community is super valuable. So it's been great to have you on this episode. Thank you heaps, Twiggy.
Thank you, Toddy. Thanks for everything you do too, and for everything you bring to this community. We're really blessed to have you.
Well, that's a wrap for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please share it now with someone you know will benefit from this information. And remember, we're not just talking about change, we are cultivating it. Through these conversations and through the Elder Tree Patreon community, together we are sowing the seeds for an education center and healing sanctuary. You can unlock access to our treasure trove of wisdom via our Patreon, so you can do that in the show notes below or from our website. Please subscribe now and leave us a review. It really helps the bots share our podcast with the world, and your support ensures that this podcast and our vision can thrive. To grow them is to know them is to use them is to love them, and then happily herbs become your way of life. May you be blessed with good health and many plans.